Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. This is Dr. Rao uh, coming to you in the afternoon of this Wednesday. This is nothing but just talk to you about uh, what I wanted to convey is to have a glimpse into my new lifestyle that I had it for last 10 years, maybe a little longer, and how that is really working for me, and maybe cover a few topics. That way you can understand me better, and maybe it will appeal to somebody. Okay. And I believe this is like a combination of a physician, informatician, and student of the ancient wisdom with yoga, Advaita Vedanta, Ayurveda, and also having a concern for wellness of individual, society, and the planet. So in this lifestyle, you will see the modernity and you will see the ancient insights about several aspects, right? So that is what I wanted to convey. So this is not going to be just one day affair. I will be coming on and off under this series and present to you like how my day goes, what happens in the morning routine, and how do I deal with eating and exercising and all that, and how do I enjoy life, and how do I rest and sleep at night very well, and in this lifestyle, how some of the learnings from the modern science and also ancient wisdom helping me live rather stress free, right? Even if I get stressed, I kind of have the resolution of that very quickly, within seconds or within minutes, actually. If somebody says something that kind of hurts me and I feel bad about it, and immediately I can see I am feeling bad about it. It's not like I suffer that and then I immediately get out of it. This doesn't even happen. So is this a freak thing, or is this something that people can understand and really implement from their own knowledge of this, and really don't owe me anything or anybody else? It's just a question of knowing, you know, what is the fact and how can you use that fact. So what I mean is, what is that lifestyle I have now, and compared to maybe a few years ago, when I was really working a very busy physician with lots of leadership roles in the hospital and my own corporation of clinic, and how did I manage that phase, and how did I really understood what is stress and how to be uh, rather stress free, or better management of the stress, that is by the modern lifestyle. Okay. Modern lifestyle of having some goals or external goals, materialistic goals, and completely neglecting our inner self or being, and how that leads to illusion of fulfillment, whereas inner life that is learned from insights of the ancient rishis and yogis and all that, that really helped me a lot. I live in USA. I live in a very modern building and modern amenities, modern conditions, and all that. Comfortable life, but at the same time, I bring in simplicity of life, right? So I eat vegetarian, and I eat only when I'm hungry, and I kind of eat very balanced food. So For the last 10 years, I have not used any medication. Before also, there was a surgery, and then they gave me a medication for that. But beyond that, I was never on a medications that I have to take forever, right? But for that, I have cultivated such a lifestyle. So I don't eat too much. I don't eat all the time. I eat only when I'm hungry. That kind of insights into lifestyles of yesteryear, living close to the nature and following our natural rhythms inside the body and mind. All these understandings helped me a lot. Okay, I don't profess any particular religion, but I take religious wisdom from all religions. Right? I don't really say I belong only to this country, India or USA. I kind of live both lifestyles in both countries, right? So I'm a world citizen, human being. That's my identity. But beyond that, I don't identify myself with anything. Not even as I'm only a doctor or an informatician. Those are my roles. I just do them to help people, right? So my approach to daily life, approach to daily needs, are pillars of the wellness, are inner life, and how do I value my work as a service to other people, and how do I really listen to people and solve their problems if they have any. So it's more like a I'm wanted. I was valued, right? I kind of given that kind of value. So I don't have to have that to really boost my ego. I don't really have an ego anymore. That is something I really understood and then transcended. And I can see that ego if it comes in my life right away. So it's like a good slave, not a master of me, but it was before, right? I enjoy the silence of my mind all the time, and that is something very valuable thing I learned from the ancient wisdom. And I use thought consciously, so I'm not victim of that either. So so this series can cover several things, right? So as I go through this, each part of it, what do I do in the morning? When do I wake up? What do I do? Series of things in the morning. And then when I come to the social audio, like this or other platforms, how do I interact with these people? What do I try to contribute? What I'm expecting, or what kind of topics I wrote about several books. What kind of videos I made. So what is that I'm trying to do now and striving forward. Okay. So anybody has questions, please come up and then we'll talk about it. But this is going to be ongoing series, on and off. I will be coming and I'll take up a subject and then I talk about it. For example, I don't have any uh, problems sleeping, no matter how busy the day, how uh, you know external situations are, and we can have real problems, right, as doctors. And even though I have a lot of demands of work and then difficult problems and difficult maneuvers I have to make, I do well, and I don't let that steal my peace and quiet inside, and thus doesn't affect my sleep, if that makes sense. Okay, but I sleep very, very well, and when I get up, I'm really energized. Okay, um, so how do I incorporate my workspace into my exercise routine also, and how do I do not want to be sitting all the time, and only certain times, and then I'll be getting up and moving. So lots of small things to big things I'm going to present to you. It's not that everybody has to follow that. It's just that I'm conveying how my lifestyle has been pretty useful to me. So, being a teetotaler, I don't drink anything. I don't smoke. I never did drugs. I never smoked in my life. But I help a lot of smokers, a lot of addicts to get out of it. So that's pretty important, I think, in people's life. And I live in rather joy and happiness, and that is something uh, infectious, contagious, right? So people do appreciate that when they come into my company and talk to me earnestly. Then they get a lot out of it. It seems so they tell me that, and that makes me feel nice, but not like a puffed up as an ego, right? So, you have any questions on this kind of thing? You can come up and ask me about it. And as I said, this is going to be ongoing series that will bring in what is the good thing about modern life, what are the things that are we are paying for it with stress and burnout in our lives and our breakup on our relationships and kids getting attention deficit or not studying well or having a lot of problems. They have to face this planet extinction. That's a possibility, right? That could be tremendously insecure feeling once they feel like that. And how do they getting addicted to their social media? So, and then how that is affecting them? What are the latest warnings? So I follow current affairs. I follow the uh, medical things that are happening in the scientific research, and I also follow what's happening in the world all over, and what wars are going, what politics are going, and all that. I do pay attention to that, but mostly I may take some information, but my mind is in a silent mode most of the time. So that's probably my best thing, maybe. As I listen to things, I kind of dump them also. Only the important one or two things I'll take it, and otherwise, all the patterns, all the gossip, all the things that are going on, I'm not bothered about it. So I don't overtask myself. I used a affirmation for my cousin who lost her mother. That mother was a 52-year-old. This girl was 18-year-old. And to get her out of that grief, I used this affirmation to be used in the morning and in the evening. So that's about standing on the mantle of presence. I give with a smile. I will not overthink and I don't expect anything from anybody. These five elements I gave to her. The number one is being in the present. Number two is giving to the world, not asking for things. And then that giving also is done with a smile because giving itself is getting, right? And then that's number three. Number one is present. Number two is give, and that too with a smile. Number three. And don't indulge in this overthinking or information overload. That's the danger of this current age of information, And then don't expect from anything, anybody, from anybody. So those five principles are there in that one sentence, and I gave to her, and then she was able to get out of the grief within a month or so, and was able to build her career. This happened a few years ago, but then she built her career as a cybersecurity person, really established in a big company with lots of benefits, but also at the same time servicing the community. So that kind of things. Okay. So people call me when they really. Yesterday, I had my sister's daughter's husband. That's he's he had a recent stroke and all that, but then he ended up with a tracheostomy, and tracheostomy was taken out, but still he is not able to swallow solid food. He's still taking the liquid, and he has some myofascial tics, and then he also very weak. And so they finally called me because they could not find any answers with their own doctors. They live in India, so that is a major problem. He exhausted all the medical sources, but he's still not able to eat. But he himself coming to that because he is reluctant to eat. He's kind of resisting that. His wife told me he improves better when he's unresponsive, but in the sleep. But when he wakes up, he doesn't take anything. That itself shows that his mind is acting over his physiological process, uh, psychosomatic, right? And then he's not able to get out of that psyche of his, right? So I told him to do kind of a repetition of one particular poem, really in the morning and the evening, and that has to be done about 108 times. That means you are so focused on the meaning and significance of that poem that you are repeating that when you are resisting other thoughts taking over you, right? So that is a very important practice in ancient wisdom. They used to sit down and do the one particular rhyme or poem several times a day, so that their mind is focused and concentrated and not going all over the place. Okay, that's an important thing that they did, but we don't spend time for that kind of reflection, or just staying with one particular singing a song in praise of the god or whoever god that they have, right? But the essential brain process there is you are focused in the rendering of the poem and its meaning. You will not entertain any other what are called vrittis, that is thought forms. They won't be there. Okay, so some of these underlyings of the workings of the mind, I was very blessed to be presented by the ancient wisdom, and good for me. I paid attention to that and adopted them, and now I enjoy the silence of my own mind. But when I want to use it, it is very focused and very intense. So I can understand a lot of complicated matters pretty easily now than before. So, but I'm advancing in age. I'm 69 now, right? So it's kind of good for old people too. So that kind of thing. So I want to give you some insights into my life, my lifestyle, which is a blend of modern and ancient. And outward life mostly modern, inward life mostly ancient based, right? I think they are very advanced in the exploration of inward life, and we can make our outward life easier and simpler by our advancement in the modern technology, and which I use quite often, but I'm not slave to them. But at the same time, we can get lost, or we can use the modern technology against one another. That's what is happening too. So it's a question of knowing what is best in both worlds, and then using them wisely, appropriately, as the occasion arises. Okay, I would say don't eat processed food. That means you got to go to the breeding of the natural foods, right? And then eating them as much possible as raw as possible, fruits and vegetables and all that, right? But if you have grains that are processed and then you are taking them quite often and more, then you're going to be a problem, right? So all these things are important to consider. Hopefully you'll find it interesting and useful. And if you have any questions about your own lifestyle and you want to compare notes with me, or you want to tell me something better that is working for you, feel free and be my guest. Okay. Uh, so this is not going to be just presenting something, but it's like kind of telling you something, but then asking you what is yours. Okay, how do these things are working or not working. Suppose you are information overloaded person because you can't help it. You are an accountant, you are a physician, you are uh, teacher, or you are a nurse, or you're a homemaker, or whatever, right? And then you have too many things coming on to you. How do you handle that? So that kind of modern problems I help for the physicians is the burnout and stress, IT professionals, company leaders, and all that. But also, I enjoy my life quite a bit. It's not that I need them for living or I need them for just accumulation of things, but it's more like a service to other people. That's what I enjoy. That's why I don't have the tensions and burnouts and all that like other people do, right? Maybe blessed in that way. That's another thing too. I'm always blissful, and that itself is a blessing, right? So this thing can be understood and learned from ancient wisdom because they were in that state of Sat Chit Anand. What do they mean is existence, which is consciousness, which is blissful. All the three rolled into one, actually. We exist because of that consciousness, and because of the consciousness, our mind is quiet, and that's why we are blissful. Simple. But to do that is the difficulty thing. Okay, that is where the modern life builds up so many things, drives you for some happiness somewhere outside, but you end up realizing it is not outside; it's inside. Once you turn inside, everything will change a lot. So my thing is know yourself inside, transform it, and then approach outward to solve problems of the world and also to really be confident about doing anything outwardly. So inner resilience, inner strength is what I strive for and teach and help my wellness club members to realize that inner resilience. Okay, so that is the plan of this new series. This is going to be called Lifestyle of Mine and what is working for me in terms of morning till evening. See, I am awake very, very well. I stay in that moment through the day. And when I'm sleeping, I sleep without much dreams and mostly good deep sleep. And when I wake up, I don't allow myself to be go into the network of thought like most people are doing these days, without knowing, thinking that thought is the only faculty you have and thought has to be used. And the more you use thought, which is a real myth. Thought is a wonderful instrument, very sharp instrument, but you have to have the balance to be able to use that sharp instrument. Otherwise, you go to cut yourself with that sharp instrument. That's what is happening with many of the people that come to me with the problems of information overload, overwhelm, stress, burnout, all these things. Okay, uh, they are real. They come with the real problems. So you got to respond, not to not as your psychological need, but more like with compassion and empathy of what people are going through, right? So don't expect me to think like you're thinking. I don't think like that. I kind of use the thinking for resolving external things, but internally, I go by the intuition. So if you also employ your intuition, you will feel and realize the things I am realizing. And then you are not following, you are just going by your intuition, right? So, but most of the people think all the time, which is other people's experience maybe, but not yours, right? So that's the idea. Um, Tell me you like the idea, or you say, oh, that's such a boring, we don't want to participate, then I will stop it. Otherwise, if somebody doesn't tell me that, then I will come and in humbleness, as a service, presenting what is working for me. I live a joyful life. I live a life with a lot of confidence within me, and I live mostly service and helping people, and which is I think is a blessed feeling, right? And I spend time with very, very wise monks and yogis. And so I always um, read or study or examine their works. And I don't read for the read sake anymore. It used to be when 20 years ago. But now I kind of go for the experience of what they are talking about, that inner insight. Um, so this is in Sanskrit language, it's called gnana. What you know, your inner self, that is the gnana, knowledge of yourself, self knowledge. But there is another part of the knowledge which is called Vijnana. That means all our science, our technology, everything that is outwardly we kind of invent, know, and try to improve our life. That is Vijnana. But then the priority for me is always inner knowledge, right? And then I did medicine, I did informatics, I do a lot of genomic studies, I do a lot of things. But my experience is not that everybody has to have this, but my experience is that inner knowledge is the first, is the priority. If you do that, I don't care how much knowledge you have outwardly, what kind of expertise you have, medicine, technology, whatever, they are not going to help you help other people. They may help with the things, but not inner transformation. That's what I'm talking about. So the principle is first to get the inner transformation and then go and work in liberation, in freedom, with a lot of abundance, serve the world. Okay, that is the lifestyle. Give this to me, the lifestyle of really keeping everything inner clean and gaining that abundance inside and then coming out with that abundance, not asking for something. Remember affirmation I said, standing on the mantle of presence. Give with a smile. Give to the world with a smile, not with some expectation or not with accumulation of so much of money. No, give with a smile. Always give, only give, right? So then don't think too much. That is the problem. Think appropriately, think focusedly, think properly, and also learn to end the thinking. That's it. And the fifth thing is don't expect anything from anybody. Okay, so that kind of confidence that you get from that, and the strength, the inner resilience you get from that inner awareness, givingness, and not expecting, not depending upon anybody for anything. I think that's true independence for me, right? So I would say, well, how did I come to that? Maybe we can take this um, 5 point affirmation and expand on them for the next few days, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So anybody wants to come up and say anything, or you just want to be there silent? You know? Already, if you're all fine just listening to this, and I'll come back again and I have time, and we will talk about those 5 points that first. Then we can go on other lifestyles. I can describe everything and then analyze each one for your benefit and just understand me better. Okay.